Everywhere I go, people ask me, how do I start reading comics? I always say, get the f away from me. How did you recognize me in public? And also that the easiest way to start is by picking up literally any comic. I know it's easier said than done, but it's the honest truth. The only way to start reading comics is to start reading comics. Thankfully, it has been a great year for the industry, as it feels like we're entering a new boom period thanks to the Ultimate and Absolute universes making bold creative decisions. DC has been firing on all cylinders with some incredible creator-driven stories, and also the Harley Quinn fart comic, but we do not talk about that. Meanwhile, Marvel is... I mean, they're trying, but have still put out some bangers this year. I know it can be very overwhelming to start at times because Marvel and DC each have a sea of their own comics, so it can feel like you're drowning in choices, and that's not even getting into the incredible indie comics constantly releasing, so I wanted to do something different to help out. As we rapidly approach the end of the year at a rate that is quickly sending me spiraling into madness, I thought it would be fun to talk about my favorite comics of 2025. Honestly, I have nobody else to talk about this with, so now you can all hear me yap about them. Just please keep in mind that I still haven't been able to get around to some very popular comics because I have a real job I make these videos around and spend most of my free time reading old comics for research on those videos. Okay, this intro is already long enough. Let's just dive into my favorite series from the year. Up first, at number 10, we have Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men. I think we need to give her a round of applause real quick just because of the sheer fact that she is writing and drawing this comic by herself. She's gotta have 30 hours in a day or something because it is seriously impressive how good this book is. It is such a brilliant reinvention of the X-Men. I cannot say enough good things about it. I don't think there's a single book in the Ultimate line that has fully taken advantage of the Ultimate Universe more than X-Men has. It's not just a reskin that could have worked in the mainline continuity. She's taking some very bold departures of the standard X-Men that we're used to in favor of a story that is uniquely her own, and it is all the better for it. What's so cool about this book too is that it takes the themes of the X-Men you're all familiar with, and it tells them in a brand new way with fresh mythology and original characters. It is so hard to walk a fine line between originality and familiarity, yet somehow Peach manages to do it effortlessly. It results in this incredibly engaging slow burn story that also somehow breezes by when you're reading it. The individual issues were so gripping that I was speeding through them and they were over before I knew it. It's crazy how well they're paced. She has such a strong creative vision in this excellent character-driven story that is accompanied by some of the most breathtaking art I have ever seen in comics. Like seriously, it is worth reading just to admire the ethereal art style alone. I'm really sad this run is going to end alongside the rest of the Ultimate Universe because I would love to read this new take on the X-Men forever. And I feel like we had barely scratched the surface on what she's capable of in this universe, but I'm just grateful we got to experience it at all because this was an incredible read from start to finish. Even if it's not technically finished yet, but you get my point. It's really good and you should catch up before the big finish next year. Then at number 9, we have Fantastic Four by Ryan North. But here's the thing. It might have started in 2022, but technically it counts because the first volume ended and the second volume began in 2025, so it counts, and I'm gonna instruct you to read every single issue over the last 3 years anyways because my god, is it so good and exactly what I want to read when I open a Fantastic Four comic. This has become my go-to Fantastic Four recommendation. I've been lucky enough to read a lot of good Fantastic Four comics in my lifetime, but Ryan North has such a perfect voice for the team that captures exactly what I want to see from them. What makes this run so special to me is that these are mostly self-contained issues that expand on Marvel's first family. You got issues about time travel, magic, family drama, neo-noir alternate realities, a whole dinosaur arc, and also the single saddest Fantastic Four comic I have ever read that made me cry, entirely about Herbie. It is a great showcase of the Fantastic Four as explorers and scientists as they venture into the unknown and solve impossible problems. My favorite thing about it though, by far, is that every single character gets the spotlight. Even the side characters feel important. There are several different issues where even someone like Alicia Masters gets to be the lead. It does a phenomenal job fleshing out every member of the family and really leaning into that dynamic. Everyone is so well defined and perfectly characterized. This might be a hot take, but I also think this is the most interesting someone like Sue Storm has ever been, as they've dove into her history as an archaeologist. And by far, I think this is my favorite Reed Richards characterization. Even if he can't stop doing that, oh my god, dude, put it away! We don't want to see that! Actually, I lied, I do want to see that. It's so freaky and I love it. This run really has it all. If you have ever wanted to jump into reading the Fantastic Four, I truly think this is the best possible place you could start. Yes, the alien romance is peak, okay? Just read it and you'll see the vision. At the very least, I am begging all of you to read that first volume. It is 33 issues of pure fantastic comics. Listen, I waited long enough to make a fantastic joke. It has to happen once per video. Then at number 8, we have Captain America by Chip Zdarsky. The only reason this book isn't higher on my list is because we are 5 issues in and have only finished the first arc. But good God, that first arc is one of my favorite Captain America stories of all time, and I think I'm an authority to speak on that. For a character that's been around for over 80 years, Steve Rogers has had his origin retold time and time and time again. But I think this might be the definitive retelling of Steve's early days for me. The main pitch behind this book is basically exploring how Steve's life changed coming out of the ice in a post 9/11 world. It is effectively Captain America Year 1, as we see Steve enter a world unrecognizable from the one he left and have to grapple with that loss, all while still bearing the colors of that country's flag. It tackles really heavy themes of Steve's isolation and the propaganda that comes with being someone like Captain America. What makes this first arc so interesting to me, though, is the fact that Dr. Doom has been the villain of this story. Dr. Doom is hardly the first villain I would choose to put Captain America up against, but he works shockingly well as a foil to Steve's morals and beliefs. I love that this book remembers that Dr. Doom is a modern-day dictator, so putting Captain America up against him gives us this really interesting clash of ideas, especially considering that Dr. Doom idolizes Captain America as a hero. That should be more than enough for you to run to your local comic shop to pick this up, but if you need more, this introduces a new Captain America in David Colton, someone who became Captain America and was actively fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq. And good lord, man, his story is so heartbreaking and tragic. They contrast him dealing with the brutal effects of PTSD that come with the horrors of war, alongside Steve trying to find his place in a country unrecognizable from the one he left, and it results in an origin story that fully understands why Captain America is the way he is and what he truly represents. This book is a great critique of American imperialism that forces Steve Rogers to confront the country's war crimes in a brutal way, but has him come out of it as a more hopeful icon than ever. I know it is far too soon to say, but I really have a feeling that we're going to be talking about Zdarsky's Captain America for a long time. At number 7, we have Superman the Kryptonite Spectrum, written by W. Maxwell Prince and illustrated by Martin Morazzo. By far my favorite Superman comic of the year, and maybe one of my top 3 of all time. I know that's very early to say, but I love everything about this book. The overall premise of this 5-issue miniseries is that Superman is testing new kryptonite on himself. If that alone doesn't sell you, I don't know what will. It is a modern-day Silver Age classic in the making, if that makes any sense. It almost feels like the spiritual predecessor to All-Star Superman in a way, as it perfectly embodies that tone and honors all of Superman's history, especially the really weird stuff. This book has more imagination and creativity in just one panel than some books do in their entire run. Watching this play out in real time, issue by issue, has been special because I know we're going to be looking back at this comic as a generational Superman story. I hesitate to say much about this comic because there's nothing I can say that will do this story justice, and I want you to go in as blind as possible when reading it. I will say this, there is a great balance between introspection and insanity. I really love how this book dives deep into the melancholy side of Superman that contrasts in a really interesting way with the over-the-top nature of the series. We'll see Superman grapple with his loneliness and responsibility, all while he has to stop someone when his brain can't even process time correctly, and it gives us one of the most trippy reading experiences I've ever had. Even the word trippy doesn't do it justice. This comic is a pure fever dream in the best possible way. Issue number 4 might be the best single issue I've read all year long, and I truly mean that. If you are a Superman fan, I think you will love this book, but if you're a Superman hater, I think you're also gonna love this book. That breaks the character down to his core in a really interesting way that somehow manages to stand out from the decades of Superman storytelling we've seen, all while honoring them all. Up next at number 6 is a personal favorite of mine, Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu by Jed MacKay. I have read more Moon Knight comics than any other character, and I can truthfully say that nobody has done more for Moon Knight since Doug Moench in the 80s. I know I'm only supposed to be talking about the Fist of Khonshu part of his run because that's all that took place this year, but please just go read every Moon Knight comic Jed MacKay has ever written. It is the perfect jumping on point for his character as Mark opens up the Midnight Mission in the heart of New York City to protect the Travelers of the Night, and Marvel keeps making things needlessly confusing as they relaunch this series every few months, it feels like, for a new number 1. But as long as we get Jed MacKay writing Moon Knight, I will be happy. I don't care how many relaunches it takes. He is constantly expanding on Moon Knight's mythology in a way that honors the past and reinvents things for the future. He is truly a Moon Knight historian and has such a deep respect for the character and only wants to do that history justice. Whether it be reestablishing a connection between Mark and Tigra, or having Moon Knight don the incredibly badass Ghost Ripper armor again. He just gets it like nobody else does. But what's what's even more impressive to me are the new contributions he's making to Moon Knight's history. He's done the best example of MCU synergy I have ever seen by introducing Layla into the comics and giving her a really interesting part in his supporting cast, which is already so well done. I will die on the hill that Moon Knight currently has the most interesting supporting cast in all of comics. Every single member of the mission feels useful and fleshed out. I mean, hell, he made 8-Ball of all characters an important supporting character to the Moon Knight lore, and for that alone this book is worth reading. I love how McKay is able to break down Mark's character and push him forward with healthy growth, something I never thought I would say as a Moon Knight fan, but is actually possible now. More often than not, comic book characters get stagnant, but not when it comes to McKay's Moon Knight, because he is constantly evolving in the most satisfying way possible, and doing it while looking better than ever because this art is insane. Look at panels like this. It is my favorite art style ever. He literally glows! Is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen? I love everything about this run so much and encourage you all to start reading it. It gets me so hyped that I'm shadowboxing in my room out of pure excitement. Then at number 5, we have Absolute Batman, written by Scott Snyder. Now please, don't hurt me for putting it this low. It feels so sacrilegious to only put Absolute Batman at number 5, but that is just a testament to how great this year has been for comics. What is there to say about Absolute Batman that hasn't already been said? It feels like everybody I know is talking about this book. No joke, I was at a holiday party a few weeks ago, and someone there was talking to me about Absolute Batman. You know how crazy it is that Absolute Batman has made it this mainstream to where people are talking about it in public? At a party, no less? What a monumental achievement to break out like that, and this book absolutely deserves it. It is the comic phenomenon of the year for a reason. You probably don't need me to sell this book for you, but I'm gonna do it anyways, because it's like writer Scott Snyder decided, what if we did the coolest possible thing at every turn, and it absolutely rips? Twisting the Batman mythos we all know and love, and making it so much more up. Good God. I mean, he literally punts a kid off a boat. That's the best comic panel I've seen in the last 5 years. The eldritch horrors they make Bruce fight every month will keep me awake at night. You can clearly tell Darkseid has not forgotten that time Bruce shot him and has now made it his personal goal to make Bruce the star of his own monster movie every week. I can't talk about this book without shouting out the incredible art by Nick Dragata as he brings this world to life in the most stylish way possible, especially when it comes to this Batman design, because he's built like an absolute tank and I love it. Even down to the logo that turns into a battle axe, because that's just the most metal thing ever. Outside of the incredible hype moments and aura, this book has some really great world building inhabited by fascinating new characters and disgusting body horror. What more can you want out of a Batman story than that? He even gets freaky with it, and you know what? Good for him. This exploration of the indomitable will of the human spirit as Bruce pushes himself further than ever to accomplish his goal and making sure Gotham stays safe. From the bone-crunching Bane arc to the ultra-satisfying annual where we get to see Bruce fight white supremacists and break their arms, which is, it's just so beautiful, to the introduction of the Joker who games, which is objectively the scariest thing about him, Scott and Nick are firing on all cylinders to create a comic that is going to be generational. This is a book that is bringing people back to the genre, and for that alone it deserves a high spot on this list, but I'm really glad that it is damn good on top of that. Coming up next at number 4, we have Batman Dark Patterns by Dan Watters. My biggest hot take on this entire list. I strongly believe that Dark Patterns is the best Batman comic of this year, and that says a lot. Not only do you have the juggernaut that is Absolute Batman, but you have Matt Fraction's work on the mainline Batman run, which has been great in its own right, but Dark Patterns blew me away. I can't believe more people aren't talking about this because it is going to go down as one of the all-time great Batman comics. It's 12 issues long with 4 different arcs focusing on 4 different mysteries for Batman to solve. This is literally everything I love about Batman rolled into one story. The second I started reading this, I could not put it down. I had to pace myself so I didn't stay up way too late reading the entire thing in one night. There is such a heavy emphasis on the detective side of the character as we see Bruce investigating these impossible crimes taking place throughout Gotham City. They are very well structured mysteries as well that catch you off guard and unravel in a very exciting way. But I especially love the self-destructive nature of Bruce's character we see in this story as he is pushing himself further and further and further despite not being able to physically keep up at a certain point. You can directly see the physical and especially mental toll being Batman takes on him in this kind of story, and I love how they handle that idea over these 12 issues as we see him getting more exhausted with each new story. What's so cool about this book too is that they're asking the question of why Gotham is like this in the first place, diving deep into the patterns of the city that shape these people into becoming monsters. There are so many fresh and exciting ideas that make each mystery stand out to the point where I'm trying my best to not mention any of them because I want you to experience this masterpiece for yourself. It may honestly just be my favorite Batman run of all time, but that feels way too soon to say, so I'm not going to commit to it yet, but I truly do believe this is a masterpiece of a comic run. Especially when it comes to Hayden Sherman's art. I can't believe I went this long without mentioning it. I specifically need to appreciate the paneling of this book because he does some of the most creative page layouts I've ever seen, and it goes a long way to really elevate the storytelling. It should be required reading for every single Batman fan out there. I want you to go read this book and then tell your friend to read this book and then have them tell their friend to read this book. I won't rest until everyone has seen the beauty that is Dark Patterns. Coming in at number 3, we have Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson. This is the book that got me into Wonder Woman and made me fall in love with her character, and for that I am grateful. It is an incredible reinvention of Diana that rings true to the character more than anyone else in the Absolute universe. I mean, hell, it's a better Wonder Woman comic than the mainline Wonder Woman comic is right now. It has been really nice seeing so many people praise Absolute Wonder Woman because I think it deserves every single good thing said about it, but it's not enough for me. Until I breathe my dying breath, I am going to spread my Absolute Wonder Woman propaganda until all of you have read this book. You better start reading it because, God, it is so good and is giving us peak Wonder Woman characterization. This kind of personality is exactly how Diana should always be written. A soft, good-natured warrior with a sense of wit who always fights to protect peace. The best way I can describe this book is that every single issue is full of heart. There is so much love and care put into these stories with every new panel. And those panels are beautifully illustrated by Hayden Sherman, by the way. I love the art style in this book so much. Not only does Diana have a breathtaking design, but the entire world is full of so much life and color. I wish I could just live inside of these comics and experience the world as Diana sees it, full of so much beauty and wonder. The main change of Wonder Woman's Absolute series has been making her a witch, and I think it has led to some of the most creative and inventive Wonder Woman stories yet. I love the flashbacks we see of her being raised in hell and learning magic, as she then applies those lessons to the modern day in the coolest ways ever, fighting monsters and serving as this beacon of hope that this Absolute universe clearly needs. I mean, dude, they made Diana use a sword, and it works. I hate when we see Wonder Woman use a sword, but in the Absolute universe, Kelly Thompson writes her in a way that it feels important and necessary, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I love it. Every new issue, my jaw drops, as she is constantly doing some of the most insane things I have ever read in comics. Please go out of your way to read Absolute Wonder Woman. I promise you, you will not regret it and only want to read more of her stories. Come for the maddening monster fights and stay for the warm hug and reminder that everything is going to be alright that comes with each issue. Now, at number 2, we have a comic I have been dying to talk about, The Ultimates by Dennis Camp. This is by far, without question, the best comic in the Ultimate line, and the one that justifies the entire universe being created in the first place. Camp is taking the free reign that came with this universe and using it to make a comic that actually stands for something and is just so exhilarating to read. It is the inspirational and revolutionary comic we need right now. Every new issue has built on the last and pushed this universe forward by expanding the horizons of what this creative freedom could lead to. Camp has done so much great work turning this team into a symbol for the oppressed and the marginalized. It is beyond inspirational to watch these superheroes stand together to fight back against a world that was robbed from them and screwed everybody over. Looking back at this run ahead of the final arc, as we are speeding towards Ultimate Endgame, I really appreciate the build this book has taken to get to where we are today. Starting the Ultimates as this secret resistance grassroots campaign, and then allowing us to watch them grow into a movement, one that has taken an effect even in the real world, which is an incredibly powerful sign that you've done a great work writing your comic. I'm genuinely shocked that some of the stuff in this book made it to print when it's being produced by a big 2 company. It is exactly what we all need to hear, and he is not pulling any punches. The most impressive thing about it all, though, is that this book is doing so much, yet balances it all effortlessly. It is inarguably the backbone of the Ultimate Universe, doing the bulk of the world building, as they're progressing new characters and telling more of the maker's story, all while they give us some incredible character arcs that hit like an absolute truck. The tragedy of Reed Doom alone makes this book worth reading. The subplot they tell about him in issues 4 and 17 genuinely made me cry. It is just that tragic and heartbreaking to see how the maker toyed with Ultimate Reed and broke him down to a fundamental level. And if I could just go on a quick Captain America tangent for a second, this book reaches uncharted territory for Captain America, which is incredibly impressive for a character who's been around for so long. In the new Ultimate Universe, America doesn't exist, so it is such a fascinating thesis statement to see how how Steve Rogers can be Captain America when there is no United States. He's able to see what the country became after he went into the ice and have to deal with the horrifying ramifications of wearing that flag and using that as a motivation to stand up for those same oppressed people again, and it empowers me so much. This is the kind of book that makes me believe it's actually possible to fix the world. It is full of so much powerful stuff that will light a fire inside of you reading it. I truly mean that. I don't even have any jokes for this section. It's just that good. Dennis Camp is my goat. He cannot stop cooking. Which is why, in that same vein, my favorite comic of 2025 is Absolute Martian Manhunter. Yeah, man, I think I just love Dennis Camp's writing. This year has made him one of my go-to comic book creators. I see his name on the book and I will read it. Before I go forward talking about Absolute Martian Manhunter, I have some advice for you. Just please read it. Turn this video off, stop what you're doing, and read the book. There is nothing I can say that will put into words how much of a mind this is. It is the most different out of any book in the Absolute line, and it is so much better off because of it. The word experimental does not even begin to describe how creative this book is. You don't need to know any more than that. So before I start getting into more details, take into account everything you've seen on screen and everything I've said, and please go read this. The decision to split the Martian Manhunter into two distinct characters and having one of them invade the other's brain is a stroke of genius that Camp goes all the way with. It's one of the most interesting things I've ever seen happen to any comic book character since I've started reading comics. He is completely redefining what the Martian Manhunter stands for, all while still playing around with his mythos in a really refreshing way. There's still white Martians to deal with and Chacos to obsess over, but it's all told through the lens of a psychedelic noir. I'm gonna say that again because it sounds like an oxymoron. This book is a psychedelic noir. Watching John get infected by this alien and now have to deal with this cosmic dread as he's one of the only people who can see what's going on in the world is... I'm genuinely speechless. It's just that good. Have I glazed this hard enough for you to start reading it yet? It is a book breaking down the human psyche and doing it in the most insane and trippy way possible. I mean, come on, just look at that art, man. This is that real. Books like this are why I read comics in the first place. The idea of Martian vision is a mind-blowing concept that elevates the already breathtaking art with something that literally transcends the page. Artist Javier Rodriguez is a trailblazer, doing things I've never seen done before in comics. The idea of holding up a page to the light and merging two images to create one beautiful portrait in unison is not only one of the coolest things ever, but is a great visual metaphor for what this story represents. It is such a weird character study all about self-discovery told through the lens of this mind-bending psychotropic investigative story. This is a special book. I could spend hours dissecting each panel page by page and telling you why it's the best thing I've read this year. We are all so lucky to be alive when such an inventive and insane comic is ongoing. The fact that I'm saying this and we're only 6 issues in should be a testament to how great this book is and inspire you to go pick it up. Seriously, what are you waiting for? I don't want you watching this video anymore. I want you to go read Absolute Martian Manhunter. It is a much better use of your time. It is a masterpiece of a series that I hope outlives us all. But those are just my favorite comics of the year. And like I said up top, I'm sure I've missed a lot of great ones. It has been a monumental year for the industry, and I only see better things happening next year as Marvel embarks on a bold new chapter of their history, while DC continues to push 2 strong universes forward at the same time. And again, I feel like a fraud because I don't have enough time to even read some of the incredible indie comics I'm hearing about every single day. So please, if you've somehow not turned off this video to go read Martian Manhunter, let me know what your favorite comics were of 2025. I don't have much free time, but I will do anything I can to read these comics. As long as you don't recommend the fart comic. I cannot stress enough how bad that was. Seriously, what were they thinking? Who let that go to print? It's a miracle that company has unfolded and is doing as well as it is. In non-fart related news though, let me know if you're gonna pick up any of the comics I recommended here today. I would genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And while you're at it, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you don't do it, I'm driving to your house and I'm breaking down the door to force you to read more comics. They will be the first and last thing you see every single day if I've got anything to say about it.